this tutorial, what we're going to do is go back to our main menu and create a button that'll take us to our second scene. So how can we do that? Okay, first thing we're going to do is come over here into the hierarchy. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a UI button. Now we have this ability to do Text Mesh Pro, and yeah, sure, why not? Let's do that. Let's see what happens when we go UI button Text Mesh Pro. It's kind of an add-on, so you can make better looking text than the standard stuff. And then it should create a canvas as well with it. You'll see that. And then we have to import the Text Mesh Pro Essentials. And examples and extras, I don't think we need that. Okay, and then so now you'll see, if you scroll out, you'll see that this canvas, it will adjust to whatever shape we have here. And I think what we want to do is pretend that we're building for a device that's 16 by 9. That's a very common screen size ratio, 16 by 9. That's very standard. But you'll see, like if we go 9 by 16, you'll see the canvas adjusts to it. Okay, that button isn't anchored to the corner. So if we have the button anchored to the corner, you can click here and you can look at all these different options. This one right here will anchor it to the bottom if you hold, I believe, Option and then hit that. And okay, if I hold Option and click this one, it anchors it to the right corner. And wherever the canvas gets resized, it will always be in that corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and leave it there, I suppose. And then we can move the button with this tool. Okay, so the anchor is still this point, and then however we change the scene size, the screen size, it'll still be in relation to this anchor. And it takes some getting used to sometimes. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's just resize this button to make it bigger. You could do it this way. There's a lot of different ways you could play around with that. And then the text is inside here. And in this text, I'm going to go ahead and just write next. How about that? Okay, and you can play around with the font size. Let's go 39, see what that looks like. You can push bold. And these are some of the things that Text Mesh Pro allows you to do. Okay, there's some other stuff you can play around with. Okay, but now what we need is we need a script that will actually take this to our next scene, and that's the big thing that we're going to do here. So in Assets folder, I'm going to create yet another folder for scripts. So you're going to right click in here, create a folder. I used to not organize this well. I just, over time, you get more organized, and it's definitely more convenient to be organized. So you're going to Control click, and we are going to, so I right click there, and we're going to create a mono behavior script. Okay? You could go to scripting and you find other options here, empty C# script, that'd be fine as well. And one or the other, we can go empty C# script or mono script. Let's just go mono script behavior so you can kind of see what's already built in there. And we're going to call this button navigation. I don't know. Button navigation. Is that, did I spell? I put 2 I's in there. You can give it whatever you name. You can just give it a name, button, whatever. Button navigation. Okay, now, and you can see when it's selected in this inspector, you can see what code is already written for you. It's known as it gave the name that you put right here, goes right there, and then it's a mono behavior. We'll go into that later. And then this code gets called right when this thing gets loaded up. Whatever you write in here will happen, and then this update happens every frame. So if you could say move to the right 1 pixel, and then every frame it'll just move to the right 1 pixel. Okay, so now to edit this script, you can go ahead and double click it. But first let's select our button, and we're going to attach this script to the button. So we could hit add component, or we could just drag this right here. And there we are. You could double click right there, or you can double click right here, and if everything's set up correctly on your computer, Visual Studio Code will open up. And I've gone around and downloaded it to every computer in the lab, so hopefully everything's working. We'll find out, I suppose. Okay, now off screen, I wrote some code and I've copied it. So I'm gonna highlight all of this and paste it. I think I'll just have to make sure I rewrite button navigation. Okay, instead of load scene button, our class name was button navigation. Okay, and so it has to match that, has to match right there. Okay, and then so when I save this, a few things are going to happen. You're going to notice this public string here. There's going to be a file, a little slot for us to write, and when I go back to Unity, and now it's compiling, give it a couple seconds, and then this button's where the script was attached to, and then there's the script, and there's those words scene to load, and it's right there, scene to load, and it's a public string. The word string means like text. You can put a name there. So what we're gonna say is when we click that, we're gonna go to scene 2 because that's what we called it. We called it scene 2 in our last tutorial. I could prove that if you forgot. So we can go to build profiles, and it says scene 2. Okay, and that one has to be open scene list. Scene 2 has to be in there. If you haven't put it in there yet, open up scene 2 from your assets folder and then hit add open scenes. Okay, so now let's see if this works. So I'm gonna make sure we save, go file, save, and if everything works right, it should load up scene 2. Now let me I guess I should have warned you. You're gonna need to freeze the video and type this. We need this line here, scene management, and then this is enables Unity to jump from scene to scene. So let's hit play and see what happens. We push play. A good check for errors is this console. I don't see anything, so that's good. So let's see, when we click this, nothing is happening. So what did we do wrong? So scene to load, scene 2. Project, do we have that? We have that on there. Scene 2 button. Huh. All right, let's take a look at our code here. Let's see, we open this up. Scene manager dot load. Let's put a little debug. Oh, okay, great. Okay, button. I forgot to do this. In the button. In the button. Okay, perfect. Okay, everything's fine. Sorry, making a video kind of froze up there for a second. Okay, you need to open up this little button tab, and we actually need to attach the function to it. So we're going to hit this plus sign, and we drag our own button into this field here because it has this button navigation code attached to it. Okay, it has this attached to it, so we drag this into that field after hitting the plus sign, and then we go to this, that's the code file, button navigation, and then load scene. Okay, so now when we play it, and when we click this button, it loads scene 2. Okay, good. And I think that actually works out really well that you saw me forget to do something and then go back and fix it. So remember, in this button, we've added this script to it, and then to make that script actually do what we want it to do, we hit the little plus sign, we dragged button into this field because it has the script file attached to it, and then we went down to the script, we found the script that is attached to it, and then we picked load scene because that's a function written right here, load scene. Okay? All right, so again, you can click that button and get to scene 2. Okay, have fun creating your button and your new script, and have fun.